Welcome along to event 2 of the F1 Esports Pro Series presented by Aramco. We're back here in the brilliant Gfinity Arena in London, getting ready for 2 evenings of racing. If you missed event 1, do not panic. After you've watched this, you'll be right up to speed.
The wait is very nearly over. The new season is underway. Oh, he's got so much momentum now. Jano Opmeer wins the opening race of the year. And they're so close to contact. He's got the job done. Tonizza wins. Here are the 5 red lights in Shanghai. Oh, this side by side. This is for the race win in China. Opmeer is going ahead. Jano Opmeer wins. Brilliant stuff. Predicting entertainment, providing us with some.
Right then, let's take a look at the standings. Starting off with the Drivers' Championship. 2 wins in Event 1 has put Jano Opmeer at the head of the Drivers' standings. 2 podiums for Red Bull. New boy Marcel Kiefer has him in second. And despite his win in Vietnam, reigning champion David Tonizza finds himself down in 6th. And looking at the rest of the grid, you will see their teammates trying to catch up. Now, if I turn your attention to the team standings, you will see Alfa Romeo have already amassed 98 points to sit top, ahead of Red Bull on 69, and both teams already looking very strong, with Renault the best of the rest on 33. Now, normally at this point, I'd be welcoming Natalie Pinkham, but she has been asked to isolate, so instead, Nick Hamilton has come to join me on the desk this week. Nick, those are big shoes to fill. Are you feeling the pressure?
I am, to be fair, but also very grateful for the opportunity. It's so cool, and I get to stand or sit right in front of you.
Indeed. It's difficult. You know what? It's a desk job, but I'm looking forward to it as well. Listen, now, Nick, when I ask you about this tonight, who do you think achieved the most in the last week?
I would have to say Jano Opmeer. I was so impressed by him, his performances, how he came through the field, especially on the alternate strategy in Shanghai to take the win. Yeah, he's really a force to be reckoned with, and someone I definitely want to watch this evening.
Well, perfect. Listen, I know we'll definitely be talking about him in a bit. Now, Natalie is doing a sensible thing by choosing to stay at home, but she will be with us in spirit and has sent us this message.
Hi guys, I'm absolutely gutted not to be there in person in the studio, but we've been hit by the coronavirus and we are isolating in the Pinkham household. I hope you guys are well. Have a brilliant night tonight. I can't wait to join you tomorrow to dissect all the action from Canada and Holland and have a look forward to the Red Bull Ring, which is a great circuit. Loads of fantastic memories from there. I will see you tomorrow, but virtually from home. Take care.
We are gutted you're not here, Natalie, but we will see and hear more from her tomorrow night when we bring you coverage of the Austrian Grand Prix. Before that, tonight we are racing in Canada, and first the Netherlands, which is the home track of championship leader Jano Opmeer. Nick, looking back quickly at Event 1, it was really a dream start for Jano, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly what he would have wanted, what the team would have wanted. You're looking really, really strong from the get-go. You can see making moves already. This is really late in the race at Bahrain, really close to his teammate Beresnay there, and it allowed them to control the race from there. You can see that they're working as a team. Jano then taking the lead and taking that first victory, which was crucial to start the championship for him.
Yeah, and what's beautiful about that, it's only happened 3 times in the history of F1 Esports, a 1 and 2 finish for both team drivers. That's only happened, as I say, 3 times before, both including Danny Beresnay. That's the first time we've had from here, twice for Mercedes. However, turning our attention to last year's champion, a slightly different story for him. It's been some good and some bad, hasn't it?
Yeah, David Tonizza, we know, it's got the pace. He was just a wrong place, wrong time sort of position for him in the first race, but he came back to that fantastic race that he had with Nicolas Longuet at Hanoi, the last lap move. You look how close they were all the way through the final sector here, wheel to wheel, really giving each other that racing room. And it's unbelievable how close Longuet got to the wall here.
Oh.
And yeah, it comes across the line, takes the win.
Yeah, and it's so important because he had poor qualifying. Get a good qualifying, it's going to, well, I don't need to tell it, it's obvious, but you'll have a better race.
Yeah, I mean, you would think so. That's how it works. But, you know, it doesn't always go to plan in qualifying. And unfortunately for Tonizza, a couple of times, qualifying hasn't been his strongest. But, yeah, let's see how he gets on in the race.
We saw him there, Nicolas Longuet. He is really impressed in Event 1. At a pole position and 2 podium finishes suggest he'll be one to keep an eye on this season.
In 2018, I saw the Pro Series and I was like, right, that's what I want to do. Already just being in the Pro Draft in 2019 was already a dream come true for me. And when I got picked by Red Bull and won their Constructors, I was in cloud 9. I wasn't very satisfied with the amount of racing I got with Red Bull. Also, Renault offered me this living environment being around the factory. And I think that was the major selling point that convinced me that Renault was the right team for me.
Met him the first time at the French Electronic Grand Prix. It was quite young at that time. Really impressed by him as a first performance on a LAN event. And yeah, it was a natural decision also looking at his performance in the F1 Esports Pro Series. He just had one shot at Monza and converted into a second place.
Very good getaway for Nicolas Longuet as they come down towards turn one.
Very happy about my podium in Italy. I put a lot of practice into it, so of course I expected myself to deliver for the team. Unfortunately, I didn't get the win, but that's why I'm here this year, is to now go for the win.
He fitted really well. I guess, yeah, the maturity comes from the experience he has in life, you know, habits to live abroad and those kind of stuff. And I get it reflect into his behavior in the team and on track.
I feel like I was much more calm this year than last year. Of course, last year was just my first qualifying. But yeah, this year I could feel the difference straight away.
Nicolas Longuet going P1 and doing a fantastic job to start the race for the first season, and yeah, done a really good job, really happy for him.
I learned that track position is everything, and that you need to be really hard on everyone.
And the new season is underway with a good getaway for Nicolas Longuet.
Leave the space, but always yeah, go hard on everyone pretty much.
No, he's having to cover him off. That's a late lunge. What a bold move to start the season.
My ambition is to be at the top, both in the drivers and in the constructors. It's going to be a challenge because obviously there is Alpha and Red Bull are very competitive.
I guess the main element for us is definitely to do better than last year. And we're not the favorites, but we will play our card for sure.
Well, success would be at least top 3 in the drivers and constructors. That's minimum, but I really want to get the win in both.
That was great to see. Nicolas looking like any good driver, supremely confident. And he's one of the, quite a few of the drivers have actually moved teams, and it seems like that's brought success. What does it do for a driver when you move somewhere new?
Well, firstly, it's a full of pressure, isn't it? You want to really show that you're valuable to the team. You can see that he wasn't happy with the amount of racing he was getting at Red Bull. He's come to Renault and really shown what he's made of. So I think he'd be really happy with what he's done so far.
OK, let's find out what he does in Zandvoort, where that is where we are going to turn our attention. Now, Nick, you caught up with qualifying earlier on today. What did you notice? Danny Berezny, can he get that 1-2 finish like I mentioned a minute ago?
I don't think so. Unfortunately, he only had one lap in Q1 for some reason. This is the lap he did. He went P1 at the time, but ended up, I think, like P17, which is a shame for him. This is David Tonizza in Q2, coming across the line, only going P11 at the time, but with it being so close, he actually drops down to P14, which I believe you will see in the next shot. Yeah, he's dropped down 3 positions there, and that is not where he would want to start for this evening. Going into Q3, this is Freddie Rasmussen showing what he is made of, showing that he can be the class of the field. Coming across the line, look how close he is to the wall to make sure he benefits from that short distance, goes P1. And then this is now Jano Opmeer on his final attempt, looking like he's super close, potentially going to take P1 from P9, because he's in P9 at the time, and only goes P2, but 11 thousandths of a second. You can see he's quite upset by that.
he seems unimpressed I didn't get first, but that's the kind of, I love that kind of competitiveness. They need to finish first.
Yeah, I mean, if he's having a bad day and he's P2, then life for Jano Opmeer is not that bad.
I take that on board, Nick, and when I look at the grid here, Rasmussen, first pole of 2020, the Iceman, in Jano in second for his home event, and Tonizza, interesting enough, down in 14th, but you see the likes of Joni Tormela, he's picked up points in every single round so far. Brendan Lee, 2-time champion, is there in 8th. Danny Moreno is done very well for a very inexperienced McLaren team. Enzo Benito, and this is what's interesting, in 12th, 2 places higher than the reigning world champ. So that's an interesting one. And Berezny down in 17th. It seems like Danny Berezny just didn't deliver there. And Tonizza, I'm not saying pressure in any way, but they haven't delivered. Can they push themselves up the pack?
This is what is going to be so exciting. It's great to see drivers out of position, to see what they're made of in a race situation, a race scenario. We know they can lead from the front whenever they get the opportunity, but what is it like when they're starting from the lower ranks on the grid? So I think it's going to be a really interesting race for them guys.
Cannot wait. Freddie Rasmussen has put himself on pole. Will he be able to convert that into a first win of the season? We'll find out in a few minutes. Zandvoort, unfortunate not to get the chance to host a Grand Prix race this year, but we are just moments away from seeing its first F1 Pro Series debut. Let's get straight to it and join our commentators. It's Alex Jakes, Matt Gallagher. Alex, are we expecting heavy metal F1?
I think we will, especially on the opening lap, because you've got to make a move very, very quickly here, because it's nearly impossible to overtake other than turn number 1, Matt Gallagher.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to watch. I think that lap 1 is going to be pretty much make or break. Well, it'll be also interesting to watch the strategy as well, because I think undercut could be an aggressive strategy for some of those drivers that have struggled in qualifying.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight, twisty and technical circuit. 5 red lights on, they go out, and we are racing for the 4th time in this esports season. Good drag down to turn number 1 for the pole sitter, who maintains the lead for the moment. They make their way through Tarzan corner, and then it is very, very important that you get the temperature of the tyres in the window, because look at how easy it is to run wide with this banked corner. Exactly what Freddie Rasmussen needed, though. He has got the jump and converted pole position to the race lead ahead of Jano Opmeer. Then it's Longuet and Kiefer maintaining position for the top 4, the top 5. A wide moment there in the background for Longuet. It's going to leave him vulnerable. It's going to get him passed by Marcel Kiefer, who is up to 3rd position.
Crucial mistake from Longuet there. There was also a bit of contact between Donoso and Caraton going down towards turn 1, and we can see there's differing strategies here. I think the 2 Renaults are both on mediums, and Donoso is struggling. Tomlin's now going to try round the outside towards this right-hander.
He's made the move, and he needed to make his strategy work. That is very important in terms of the Finns race, and he will try and get after the next Renault, who, as you point out, Matt, got the yellow-walled medium tyre on. Good run off the banking for Jano Opmeer, who's got 0.3 of a second. He's very much in the slipstream, but not much he can do by the time that he gets to the first corner on the racetrack. Yellow flag out in the final sector of the lap. You can see the predicted pit stop strategy there at the bottom of your screen.
Opmeer all over the back of Rasmussen at the moment, but no DRS assistance as of yet. And I think the top runners, Rasmussen, Opmeer and Kiefer, have all gone for the aggressive, let's get the softs on, let's just pull out a gap if we possibly can. But you can see the intervals on the left-hand side. There's nothing over half a second that I can see on my screen, maybe 6/10. This field is not separated by anything apart from Tomei and Biancalila, both in the pits at the bottom of your field. Opmeer right now, right behind Rasmussen, loving the halo graphic. That looks beautiful. We see it in real-life Formula 1. We've got it in the virtual one too, Alex.
Absolutely super stuff as we make our way to the chicane that opens up in turn 13 towards the end of the lap. Then there's the short chute to the banking. Designed to promote overtaking. Will we get some? Jano Opmeer, the form driver, the championship leader, the benchmark so far in this 2020 season, but he cannot get on terms with Freddie Rasmussen for the moment. But we are on lap number 3, and that means that DRS is going to be his friend the next time he goes through those corners, as long as he can crucially keep within that 1 second window. So this lap is so important for both Rasmussen and Opmeer.
Looking down the field, you can see how important qualifying is in this F1 Esports Pro Series. Tonizza still, well, I think he's 14th. He started 14th. Danny Berezne started 17th. He's still 17th. So they've made absolutely no headway at the start of this race. And when you're looking at the Constructors' title and the fight there, Red Bull right now have the upper hand with Berezne down in 17th.
Manuel Biancalila and Cedric Tomei having a nightmare getaway at the start, long way off the back of the field, at the back of the pack. We're checking in with the Williams driver of Alvaro Carreton, putting pressure on Donoso, who is on that medium tyre. You can see that the Williams is on the soft. And then if you're going to put yourself on that tyre, you've got to go on the attack, you've got to get moving, because if Carreton can't do that, Brendan Lee is directly behind him in the Mercedes.
Yeah, those Renaults are going to be ones to watch as we get towards the last stages.
Look out front, we've got Jano Opmeer. We've got Jano Opmeer taking the lead of the race right now. He's managed to get past Freddie Rasmussen into turn number 1. We were waiting to see whether the DRS would be useful. It's been very useful indeed. The championship leader hits P1.
I think that's caught everybody by surprise there. Opmeer taking the lead. Freddie Rasmussen must have got a really poor exit around the final corner. Of course, DRS assistance as well. And now the two Red Bulls have to work together to try and take this to Opmeer.
Yeah. Just explain to everyone watching what you mean work together. That might sound slightly counterintuitive, even for teammates.
Yeah, well, I mean, the money is decided in the Constructors' Championship for this series. So these two, as much as they want to fight for pride, they also need to fight for their team. Right now, Opmeer is doing everything he possibly can to close that gap that Red Bull currently have the advantage with the fact that his teammate Berezne is all the way down in 17th. Biancalila is out of this race. But right now, what Red Bull will be doing and what the team managers will be speaking to them as they're going round is, right, let's think of a new strategy here. We have to go at least aggressive with Rasmussen or Kiefer, go for the undercut, cause the play to happen so Opmeer may lose track position, and then they can work from there.
Jano Opmeer being caught. You can see that DRS very, very effective. Minor lockup from Rasmussen. Rasmussen slightly lackluster. Remember, we heard him on the team radio on the streets of Hanoi saying we've thrown away the win here. Wasn't happy with the strategy that day. And as Matt has explained, looking to maybe employ the help of his teammate because he doesn't want to be fighting him. If he's fighting his teammate, he's really going to struggle to take the fight to Opmeer. As we can hear, I believe now, from Marcel Kiefer in the second Red Bull on the road.
What do you think? Should we go lap 6-7 or 5-6?
And
not sure.
Not sure. Brilliant. The one job, they're like, I don't know what race strategy to go for.
We were waiting for the answer and then they weren't sure. Not sure at all right now. In a good position and not the ultimate position though, not where they want to be. Nicolas Longuet going really nicely on those medium tyres. I thought maybe,
there it is.
Into the pits goes Freddie Rasmussen, so there's the answer to your question.
Kiefer.
Kiefer going into the pits, I should say. Thank you, Matt. And Kiefer has
That's what I'm here for.
He's gone in. Freddie Rasmussen still out there on track. We talked about the aggressive undercut. You can see how difficult it is to pass anywhere other than turn number 1, unless you're forcing your rival into a mistake. This is an unforgiving circuit. You can see not much in the way of runoff around the 4.2 kilometers of the Zandvoort circuit. And now Opmeer and Rasmussen know that they're in a direct race with Marcel Kiefer, who came out in 13th position.
Yeah, he's got 5.6 seconds worth of fresh air to really push in on those fresh mediums. Whether he'll have a huge pace advantage at this stage, I'm not so sure. The softs may well be hanging in pretty nicely at the moment, but it's certainly forcing the hand of Alfa Romeo. Do they cover off Marcel Kiefer, or do they ignore him? Do they say, you know what, we're going to stick to our race strategy, we're going to stick to our pit plan, and then just continue with their own race? Because in hindsight, at the end of the race, I'm sure one of those would be much better than the other, but we don't know just yet.
So Renault now find themselves third and fourth with Longuet and Donoso on that alternative strategy, and the top two. Pit then, Opmeer in for a straight pit stop race along with Rasmussen. Renault go 1 and 2 on the road with Longuet and then Donoso, and then the cars back out onto the circuit. And as we would expect, Jano Opmeer.
There's Marcel Kiefer.
Oh, is he going to go past? Is he going to sweep around the outside of all three of them? Very, very close indeed. Marcel Kiefer's going to get past his teammate, but not quite past Jano Opmeer, who hangs on to that oh-so-crucial track position.
Well, Freddie Rasmussen will be questioning over the radio, is this exactly what we wanted? Do we want to swap? Because it looked like Freddie has the most pace out of the two Red Bulls at the moment. Marcel was holding on quite nicely in that first stint, but still they haven't got track position on Jano. Will they do the swap? Because right now, Freddie Rasmussen, 1 lap fresher tyres. It might not sound like a lot, but it's still a smaller advantage for Freddie over Marcel. So this is going to be really interesting to see how they play this, because Jano Opmeer only 3.6 seconds behind Shanaka Clay, and then he starts to catch the rest of the alternate strategy runners.
And that will be for position, no assistance. Yes, there'll be a difference in tyre life. Yes, you'll be able to feel that difference, but you've still got to try and make your way through. And look at this circuit. It is difficult. If you catch a car here, you might not be able to make the move until you get down to Tarzan, which is exactly where the Renaults are right now, with Longuet half a second ahead of Donoso. Donoso, who had a strong showing in the first 2/3 of the race on Hanoi, and then dropped back with a late penalty, going strongly at the moment. 2 Renaults ahead of the 2 Williams right now. First and second, third and fourth, yet to make their stops.
Just saw that Simon Weigang coming into the pits got a 3-second time penalty for speeding, so that won't help his race. He's down in 17th though, so not particularly in the fight for points. Donoso, though, looking very strong indeed. He's come back after a really strong performance in Vietnam. He got a penalty at the end and dropped quite a few positions, but he's definitely picked up the pace from the beginning of the season and is starting to take it to Longuet. Obviously, they're not fighting each other really too hard, but they're just trying to eke their way a little bit closer to this constructors' battle. We heard from Nicolas Longuet before the race that they are quite a way behind, but if they continue on this form, they can start to eke into that advantage. But they don't really want 2 Red Bulls winning this race.
That is not in the plan for Renault at the moment. Good drive off the corner for Donoso, and that's a nice and simple one into turn number 1, as long as he can get it slowed down, and he can, and now he's got the race lead. He's the lead alternative strategy runner, and we've seen the alternative strategy work as through goes Freddie Rasmussen on Marcel Kiefer, and it didn't appear that Kiefer was fighting that one too hard at all.
No, it doesn't make any sense for those two to fight right now. Marcel knows the long game plan here. Freddie Rasmussen, slightly fresher tyres on the same strategy as Jano Opmeer. Jano's going to be in that car going, Danny Beresne, where are you, my friend? I need you. He's currently in P5. He hasn't pit, though, and it doesn't look like he's making any sort of progress to get a second Alfa Romeo car in the points.
Black and white warning flag for Simon Weigang down in 17th position. Meanwhile, more teammates line astern, so as the Renaults once again have to check in on Alvaro Caraton, because he's right there. He's got the faster compound on paper, but he's taking them a very long way into the race, isn't he? And I think that's about as far as he fancies taking those soft tyres. So into the pits comes the Williams.
Yeah, very long stint from Caraton. We saw the rest of the leaders come in lap 5, lap 6. Caraton's clearly seeing the advantage of just staying with the 2 Renaults, using the DRS assistance, clearly not feeling like the soft tyres were falling off, and now he'll have much fresher mediums towards the end of this race. 15 laps to go, so it is a relatively long race, 35% race distance in this new F1 Esports Pro Series, slightly longer than people may be familiar with from previous seasons, so it gives just that little bit extra window of strategy. So it'll be interesting to see if that extra tyre life pays off a little bit later on.
Bit of dust kicked up there as Opmeer now has Rasmussen bearing down. The final section of the racetrack really important just to work, try and get those incremental gains. Various corners that lead you to the DRS. And they're coming up to it any moment now. It might only be the battle for 6th position at the moment, but this will be foot to the floor. And then all the speed you can take. Jano Opmeer is the target once again, as he has been for everyone in the field so far this year. Past the high concrete wall and getting closer. What a brilliant battle between these two. Such super drivers at this level, the top tier. This F1 2020 game, and Jano Opmeer at the moment doing enough, but he has no breathing space with Freddie Rasmussen directly behind him.
One small error and Jano Opmeer is in big trouble. Last year's Constructors' Champions, Red Bull looking very strong to take it to Alfa Romeo again this year. And right now they will be scoring quite a bit more points than Alfa Romeo will by the end of this race. But it depends who comes out on top. Right now Rasmussen looks rather comfortable, just sitting behind Opmeer. Joni Tormela as well, quick shout out to him, just clinging on to the DRS of Marcel Kiefer. So he's not out of this if things start to get a little bit sketchy between these three very talented drivers. But Jano steadily just closing in on Shanaka Clay, so that'll be another interesting turn of events if those guys continue to go on. You'd imagine they will continue for another, I'd say maybe 5 or 6 laps at the minimum before they whack on the softs and go for the alternate strategy. Fly through the field like we saw from Jano Opmeer in China.
I think that's a really encouraging lap for Freddie Rasmussen because it's brought him closer than he has been at any stage since the pit stop. He is right there, but Opmeer is the championship leader for a reason. 65 points to his name, 2 wins already this campaign. Freddie Rasmussen down in 5th position in the standings. 1 6th place, 2 5th places, looking for a first podium of the season, looking to stand on the top step. We've already seen him in vision already in the broadcast, and he looks unflappable. You never know whether he's won by 30 seconds or he's plumb last. Well, at the moment, he is very much in the hunt for victory. Right now, Alvaro Caraton coming up behind Bono Huis in the Mercedes.
After that long stint, he's now stuck in this train of 2 Mercedes and a McLaren. Clearly looks a little bit faster than Bono Huis, but can't make any moves just yet. It's so difficult when it's a train like this because Bono Huis will have the DRS to defend because he is within 1 second of Danny Moreno as Michael Romanidis gets a 3-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, as does Shanaka Clay. It's quite a difficult pit lane, this, Alex. It kind of just jerks off to the right and you have a huge amount of speed, and then whoops, there's the speed limit line.
They're all pushing the limits. They're all looking to extract everything possible. Caraton there coming out ahead of Nicolas Longuet, who finally makes the stop. Just the one retirement at the bottom of your screen, and Cedric Tomei still miles off the back of the pack. The rest of the gaps out there, exactly what we'd expect from this year's high caliber championship.
Yeah, Longuet's lost a huge amount of positions just purely from the fact that it was so close at the start of this race. So he's got to get past Caraton, Huis, Moreno and Lee to get back to kind of the area that he was in before. So that's a really early pit stop, you know. That's 12 laps on the softs. That's not what I expected at all. I thought they would go much longer on the mediums before whacking on the softs, but clearly they think that they can take it that far. I mean, there was a little bit of who was it? It was Caraton that went quite long on the softs. I think 9 laps, but goodness me, 12 is clearly quite an aggressive strategy. Renault's seen something where they've gone, this is not working out. We need to get on the faster tyre quicker to get track position. It's so difficult to overtake round here.
It is, and this is the main opportunity for the drivers, and getting nice and close under braking. A lot of confidence there. Rasmussen again pushing the Alpha. Danny Beresnay out front, but yet to make the stop after having to go on the alternative strategy after a disappointing qualifying.
That's painful, isn't it? Danny Beresnay is the next car ahead for Jano Opmeer, 2 seconds down the road, and his teammate hasn't pit yet. This is I'm sure they get on very well, but I'm sure Jano is definitely a little bit disappointed with the fact that they really wanted to be a big haul of points once again. And Danny Beresney's got huge amounts of potential, just somehow hasn't been able to nail qualifying this year. We saw it in Vietnam being knocked out in Q1. We've seen it again here today, and it's not though you can't have these kind of mistakes in such a close championship.
You really can't afford it, and he's already had one non-score already this year. The good news for Daniel Beresney, third in the point standings going into this one, is that the times that he has finished, he's been on the podium with a second and a third. You saw the yellow flag out there a few moments ago. Actually, hold on, it's very, very close. Closest he's been for a while now. Jano Opmeer under a little bit of pressure from Freddie Rasmussen, and he's just shaping in the mirrors. He's just trying to frighten his rival into a mistake. As we check in right now with Nicolas Longuet. His teammate was the driver who was dropping down to 18th. Longuet, though, on the charge, moving forward and getting past Bono Quis.
Longuet going the long way around.
I knew you'd get it in at some point.
I love it. But that's a great move from Nicolas Longuet on Bono Quis there. Up to 8th position. He's making those soft tyres work. How quickly can he dispatch of Moreno, Lee, and get on the back of Tourmalet? Because I don't think those tyres are going to be in a particularly healthy condition by the end of it. Here is Nicolas Longuet. Little emotion as well. I feel like none of these drivers really show a huge amount of facial expressions because most of the effort is going into their hands and feet.
I think if they were gawping, we'd be really, oh, okay, look. We'd be talking about that if they were the other way. Very minimal steering input, just like you'd see in the real thing, smooth and precise. And he's had to wait until he gets onto the main straight, but it's going to be another positional improvement for Nicolas Longuet right now. If he can sort the braking out into turn 1, it's banked, it's your friend, there goes the McLaren, up goes the Renault, 7th position for Nicolas Longuet.
Yeah, nice stuff from Nicolas. I was just thinking, you probably wouldn't want to see my concentration and braking phase. It's much worse than a lot of the things we've seen from these other drivers. But Nicolas making good improvements on the soft tyre. How far can he go? He's passing a lot quicker than I expected. This track is supposed to be difficult. That's a little bit wide from Freddie Rasmussen, pushing on 3/10 behind Opmeer. Ideally, Danny Beresney needs to just lift off the throttle just a tiny bit, give Jano DRS, and then we'll continue on our way, because right now, Jano is defenceless to Rasmussen's charges, and I feel like it's only a matter of time before Freddie gets a good run out of that final corner, and he might send one.
Optional team manager, Matt Gallagher, available for hire when he's...
No one's listening. Literally, none of the teams are tuned into what I say.
Lap 16 to 25, we have had so many races sorted out on the penultimate lap, on the final lap. They usually leave it late. Into the pits comes Danny Beresney. This is now the battle for the race lead. Oh, and he's so close compared to before, almost nudging him through the corner. But Rasmussen, how many laps has this been coming? Now it is the battle for P1. It's Opmeer versus Rasmussen. He's running out of laps, and Rasmussen has been biding his time. Maybe now he believes that the move is not too far away.
Come on, Freddie. I think I remember from last season, China, he was not making any moves and was practically pushing the car ahead around for the entire race, didn't go for it. This is a different Freddie Rasmussen, I'm hoping, where he will, if he gets the run, send it to the inside and give us a good race for this lead. I don't want Freddie to hold back. I know it's sensible for Red Bull to sit maybe P2 and P3 and gain positions and points on Alfa Romeo, but surely first is better than second. Let's go, Freddie.
Well, we'll find out whether he takes your advice in a few moments' time. Some drivers very, very scruffy over the chicane apex there. Others, like we saw from Rasmussen, very, very precise. Always interesting to see the different strategies over the curbs. No curbs around here. And a good exit off the corner for Jano Opmeer. That is what I love about this. He'll get close, but he won't get close enough. Opmeer, punch and counter punch with Rasmussen. Further back, Brendan Lee has the apex first, has the tyre, and is he going to get to the inside? They're still side by side, and Nicolas Longuet has the softer compound. Can he use the traction? This time he can, and he's up to 5th place.
What a move. Nicolas Longuet's done the pair of the Mercedes with pretty much the same move. It was a little bit longer getting past Brendan Lee, the 2-time champ, but Longuet is on a mission as James Baldwin has unfortunately left the session and retired from the race, which is a massive shame for the world's fastest gamer. But Nicolas Longuet is flying at the moment. Can he catch Joni Tourmela by the end of this race? I still feel like those softs were put on a little bit early, so it was an aggressive strategy. P5, I'm sure they'll be happy with. But Donoso is down in 18th. What's happened to him?
Yeah, we saw the yellow flag out. He dropped down at that point. We haven't actually seen why that was, but a promising race, because remember, he was right behind his teammate in the early stages, and that's all come undone as we work lap 18, now 19 of 25. Rasmussen with a lot of confidence earlier on in this one. Now knows that he's beginning to run out of opportunities. Jano Opmeer looking for a third win of the year and looking to extend his points lead in the championship. And Rasmussen will know that it's time to get a move on, because Kiefer now coming back into this battle to make it very nearly a three-way battle for P1.
Jano Opmeer's been incredible this season so far. He's really impressed me with the fact that, you know, he was always known as he can qualify, he can do time trial, but no one ever thought that he could race wheel to wheel. And I don't know, there was just all sorts of chatter that he didn't have the minerals to take it into an F1 Esports Pro Series championship. Well, here we are. Jano Opmeer is heading this field. He's got a huge amount of pressure, even a slight locked brake, and Freddie Rasmussen is through. He's holding on right now, but I'd say Freddie Rasmussen looking very strong indeed. Marcel Kiefer still holding on. Hello, Joni Tourmela in P4. This is not over.
Four-time podium finisher, Joni Tourmela, and joining the party. He's very much in that gaggle. We're getting a bit of a DRS train now at the front of the field. Good exit off the corner for Rasmussen. Once again, not able to do anything with it. With the brakes glowing as he gets to turn number one, hasn't really felt the need to send one to the inside to get Darty in the rear mirrors. He's waiting, he's biding his time, he's basically doing what you told him.
It's a difficult one though, isn't it, Alex? Because turn one, as much as it is quite heavy braking, you can take quite a bit of momentum because it's banked, and therefore you can't really outbrake your competitor in there unless you're going side by side.
Yeah, it is. It's all about the exit, and it's all about sector 3. How much are you going to risk, especially at turn 12 into 13, the sharp chicane into the left-hander that takes you to the banking. That could be absolutely vital. Good luck again from Opmeer, who is getting ever closer to a third win of the campaign. It would be a fourth win all-time in the championship. And we are focusing once again, having just checked in with Alvaro Caraton, once again on the progress of the lead Red Bull in the race. Once again building up to full speed. 8th gear for the cars as they brake very late indeed. Very, very late indeed if you're Marcel Kiefer, who's trying to play himself back into contention. But there's a good example of what happens if you go too far. He's now looking rearwards at Joni Tourmela.
For the eagle-eyed of you looking at the timing intervals on the left-hand side, I reckon if we're under 4/10 coming out of the final corner, that banked corner, if Freddie Rasmussen is 4/10 or below, we could have a little ding-dong into turn one. That's my predictions anyway. Anything more than that, I think Opmeer's got him covered. But is Freddie Rasmussen just waiting, biding his time? Because right now he does look like he's got a fraction more pace than Opmeer, but it's just about finding that opportunity. This track is so difficult to overtake. You have one opportunity down towards turn one. The rest, you're just kind of relying on a mistake from your competitor.
And we get into the oh-so-important final part of the lap then, with Freddie Rasmussen, who is close, but he's been close for a very long time indeed, looking for a 5th win in the championship. You hear the beep, it's for DRS. He's very close this time. 4/10, 3/10, 2/10, and not with the momentum that he needs. Jano Opmeer driving a great race once again. Super standard. Is he going to get to the flag first?
He's holding on at the moment. He's withstood the pressure. Can he do it for only a few more laps? Nicolas Longuet is trying, and now he is within DRS of Joni Tourmela. So clearly there's still some pace in that soft tyre. Whether it will be the same case towards the end of the last and penultimate laps, we will find out. Brendan Lee's having a very quiet, solid race in P6 for Mercedes. Bono Huis as well, P8. So that's a decent points haul for the Mercedes. But right now, our focus is for the lead. And can Rasmussen get close? Can he get within that 4/10 as he goes round the banking? That is a question that is going to be answered very shortly.
So interesting to see where each driver is strong. They are toing, they are throwing, they are very, very close together, and they're equalizing out that gap. It's pretty much static at 0.4 of a second. Rasmussen getting within a couple, and now how close is he going to be able to get? If he's been biding his time, he needs to send one soon. He'll know it. He's right there. Maybe if that was the last lap, he might have tried something slightly more adventurous. Then that's, it's a wonderful track for a timed lap. It's thrilling, it's banked, it's tight and technical. The drivers always enjoy it, but you do have to wait. And the only way you can put pressure on is by looking for a lock-up. Wide turn in for Jano Opmeer. This looks very, very effective. 0.2 of a second. Now, this is where Opmeer traditionally is able to extend that gap and protect himself. He's not had the usual strong middle part of the lap, and there you go. That is where he gets the power on. That is where he is effectively defending. Rasmussen needs to chip in. Oh, it's very, very tight now. Is he going to take more curb through 12? This is 13, and then it's one corner to go onto the banking. Look at the gap between these two. For so long, Jano Opmeer has been racing.
Oh, this could be close.
Rasmussen in his mirrors, and he's really having to defend for the first time all race. The battle for the lead is going to be resolved in favour of Freddie Rasmussen. He's had one clear-cut opportunity, and he's taken it. He's got the lead on the penultimate lap of the race.
Yeah, you can see Freddie Rasmussen just got tucked into his slipstream of Jano Opmeer and just flew past. It was easy pickings for Freddie Rasmussen, who takes the lead. Was he biding his time this entire time? Did he not want to lead this race? Maybe he was just saving some of his energy so he could deploy it all there and then take the lead, and he is now extending his margin out in front. Can Marcel Kiefer do anything in the second Red Bull? Who knows, but right now Freddie Rasmussen leading the race and on course for his first victory of the season.
He needed this. He really needed this for his championship challenge. Once again, the race lead being decided in the final stages. This is the part of the racetrack where Jano Opmeer was doing enough before to keep Rasmussen behind. And then, would you believe it, the first time that we see him with a real opportunity, not even a question that he was going to convert it, and Rasmussen is sprinting clear. He's got the lead that he needs at this stage, and he is on to the 25th and final lap of the race, going in search of win number 5. But, as you say, Matt, the important stat for him today, it's going to be a first win of the year.
Yeah, sensational penultimate lap from Freddie Rasmussen to gap Jano Opmeer up by about 6 or 7 tenths. And that really has given him that cushion. Doesn't feel like a cushion. You say 6 tenths in Formula 1, you're like, well, that's pretty close. But 6 tenths in this race has been a huge cushion. So right now, Rasmussen looking good. Marcel Kiefer, if anything, closing in on the Alfa Romeo. Could he get a Red Bull 1-2 right at the death? It's going to have to be a pretty audacious move.
Jano Opmeer has worked so long. He's got to be careful that the disappointment of losing out on a home win is not too much for him, and he's got to keep things tidy, but he's very nearly there for another podium for the Dutch driver. But Freddie Rasmussen has done the job today. It has been a very strong performance from the man who finds himself very close to the finish now. Here he comes. Freddie Rasmussen comes out of the banking. And for the first time this year, it will be victory. Freddie Rasmussen wins at Zandvoort. A superb victory ahead of still championship leader Jano Opmeer. And let's hear now from the race winner.
Come on, guys. Good result.
Good job,
nice execution, nice patience. Everything well executed. Very good.
Double podium.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. Yeah, that's really solid for the whole family.
Freddie Rasmussen on top, on the board in 2020. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you so much, Alex and Matt. What a brilliant way to start off round 4. And as you can see, Freddie Rasmussen getting that first win of 2020. Jano Opmeer in second place for Alfa Romeo, getting more points for that Drivers' Championship for him. Marcel Kiefer in third, started off in 5th. Great race from him. And as you go further down, David Tonizza, 11th place, misses out on the points. Danny Berezny in 12th, and all the way down there, Cedric Tomé getting the fastest lap, but Manuel Biancolila, a disappointing race from him. Hoping he can do much better in qualifying. Listen, Nick, we're at the touchscreen, a very exciting moment. What did you take from that race? Nicolas Longuet was having a brilliant start, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Longuet, we know, has got a lot of pace, makes a few mistakes on lap 1, and you can see him here. This is him highlighted on the first lap, makes a slight mistake. You see he goes wide here. Here he is, making a mistake, and then that opens him up already to be attacked into the next corner, and this is Marcel Kiefer taking advantage of that. So that's a really important mistake that he's made that potentially could give him P4, but he has the opportunity to make moves and show his pace, the pace that we know he has. And this is a move that he set up through turn 1, using the soft tyres against Brendan Lee, of all people. He's not an easy person to
He is
pass,
not going to give you any room.
is he? But still, gets the job done on a softer tyre, and yeah, tried to recover from his mistake from lap 1.
Yeah, little mistakes can be very costly, but definitely got that pace. If you can just iron those mistakes out, he's going to go further up that grid.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll just move on now to Jano Opmeer using the DRS. This is lap 3. This is him getting the job done on Freddie Rasmussen, doing a really good job, and looks like he's got the measure of him. But then this is now 2 laps from the end, and it is Rasmussen, basically a carbon copy of the same move that he got done on himself, which was a race-deciding move, and then allowed Frederick Rasmussen to take his first victory of the season. So fantastic job from him.
Yeah, and as you can see here, he doesn't show it, but Freddie Rasmussen will be incredibly happy to get that first win of 2020. Listen, he has got no time to celebrate because now we are heading on to Canada, and we'll do that right after we return.
Bienvenue au Quebec and welcome to Montreal.
Drive fast, don't crash.
Oh, there's a massive crash!
The walls are close, curbs are high.
Sebastian Vettel goes wide and Lewis Hamilton thought there was a gap.
They're stealing the race from us.
Oh my goodness me! Guys, that was a hell of a race.
Lewis Hamilton wins!
Welcome back to the F1 Esports Pro Series presented by Aramco. Shortly, we'll be heading around the Canadian Grand Prix. That circuit, very special for your brother, Nick. I don't know if you, yeah, he's pretty well known.
Oh.
Okay, yes. What makes it so special, this circuit, the Canadian Grand Prix?
It's so easy to make a mistake. You've got the wall of champions. There's pretty much a wall everywhere that you turn your head. So any mistake that you make could definitely be very costly to your car, to your race, to your qualifying. But yeah, very good circuit for Lewis, his first victory in Formula One. But yeah, a hell of a circuit.
Yeah, incredible work from Lewis going on at the moment. But what does it take to go fast? You've got that wall to avoid, but how do you really go for it? How do you send it on this track?
You've got to have no fear, Pretty much, especially through the last corner. But it's all about that technical section as well. Sector 1 and Sector 2. It's all about getting the car rotated, maximising your exits, making sure you get good traction, and then a great exit out of the hairpin onto the long back straight. And then that's when it comes to the Wall of Champions right at the end, which separates the men from the boys.
OK, well, listen, we saw a lot of hot lapping going on earlier on in the Canadian qualifying. Nick, you were all over the action from that qualifying show earlier on today. Q1, Marcel Kiefer, did he impress you?
Yes, he did. He struggled in Q1. It looked like he had some proper technical issues with his steering wheel. Look at the panic on his face. What the hell is he going to do? Oh my God, get that guy a new steering wheel.
Turn it on and off again.
And just to manage to get into Q2 with 1 lap. Great job from him. Heading into Q2, this is Brendan Lee making a mistake, hitting the wall, which I said is so costly and so easy to do. And it put him on the back foot. He had only 1 lap. Or the time to do 1 lap in Q2 and did enough just about to go P4 and into Q3. So a great recovery from him. Q3, this is the man that I tipped for pole position, David Tonizza, getting the job done, going P1 at the time, which was really, really impressive. Exactly what I thought he would be able to do. And then Marcel Kiefer, after all of the panic that he had, managed to get the job done and do a 1:06.9 to go P1 and top of the timesheets in qualifying.
Yeah, you predicted it. You were saying 1.6. However, due to some use of the wall, unfortunately, Kiefer dropped down to 7th. I like to say this. When you're wrong, I think it's good to admit you need to change your ways. You said it to me on the qualifying show. As I said, Manuel Biancolila starts needing to deliver. Otherwise, the sub-driver will step in. Fantastic qualifying from him. Brendan Lee down in 8th. And also Simon Weigang, Haas looking for their first ever #1 finish in a race. I'm looking forward to that. Joni Tormala hasn't dropped any points so far. It's a great grid. It's exciting. Michael Romanidis is there. Nicolas Longuet in 9th. Lucas Blakely, we know how good of a driver is. Can he show it now? And down there in 16th, Danny Moreno for the McLaren team. Very inexperienced, but yet got all that potential. And James Baldwin, world's fastest gamer as well. Bono Huis and Enzo Benito will be a little bit disappointed where they are in the grid. But what expectation? Who's going to win this, Nick? I'm going to put you on the spot.
I'm going to go with Tonizza. I'd like to see Tonizza take the victory.
OK, well, listen, Nick reckons it's going to be David Tonizza. Matt Gallagher, Alex Jakes, what do you say?
He needs it, doesn't he? After a disappointing bit of a mixed campaign for the champion so far, he could really do with victory here. I think he's going to have a lot of competition. I think Jano Opmeer is the driver to beat still.
Absolutely, yeah. Tonizza has to have a good result because he's lost quite a few points. FDA Esports, Hublot Esports team, it's a mouthful that, have got a lot of points to make up as well in the Constructors. Here we go.
The lights go on. Lights out in Montreal. They leave the grid with David Tonizza trying to hold off Jano Opmeer, trying to turn the outside line into the inside. That's always a risk into turn number 2. And the Alfa Romeo driver immediately takes the lead. Championship leader out front. Tonizza down to 2nd. Our race winner a few moments ago, Freddie Rasmussen in 3rd, and then losing a position off the line. Biancolila there as we check in with the predicted pit stop strategy at the bottom of your field. Danny Beresne needs a result, and he is moving up to 4th position. He's taking Marcel Kiefer with him further back. They run side by side. Kiefer has the momentum and has 4th for the time being. Beresne down to 5th. Not the getaway Biancolila needed. Nicolas Longuet has got past Brendan Lee.
Yeah, a little bit of argy-bargy between Longuet and Lee there. You can see that Opmeer and Tonizza have gone for the medium strategy, so I wouldn't be surprised as the AlphaTauri looks to the inside there, but just about doesn't manage to get through. That's Biancolila on Beresne, but you can probably imagine Opmeer and Tonizza on the slower medium tyres could come under pressure from the soft runners behind.
Jano Opmeer did everything he needed to at the start in terms of car positioning, and he is the leader on lap number 1 as Tonizza checks the mirrors for Rasmussen behind. Rasmussen up and running in the championship. as we saw a few moments ago, being aggressive on that Red Bull soft tyre. You would expect him at this stage to have the advantage, and Rasmussen will know that he's got a tyre compound advantage over the top two.
Beresney did get up to 4th. He's now lost that position to Kiefer, down to 5th, but he's in the mix. That's all we can ask for these two Alfa Romeo drivers, and trying to attack this Constructors' Championship and take a decent-sized lead into the second half of the season. But the two Red Bulls of Rasmussen and Kiefer very much in sight of that as well. Here's Rasmussen, the highest placed soft runner. He needs to make the most of this tyre advantage if he wants to beat the likes of Jano Opmeer and Tonizza. Jano Opmeer is so good on this alternate strategy. Tonizza goes defensive!
Oh, he's put a wheel on the grass, and that's going to cost him so much momentum. But he was trying to really pull an audacious move on Tonizza with that tyre compound advantage. Thought he would have lost more there to Marcel Kiefer, but if anything, he's right back in the wheel tracks and hunting down the second place driver. Last year's champion chasing this year's championship leader, and a multiple race winner behind in P3. Clearly the fastest of all three of them right now.
Yeah, that was touch and go into that hairpin between Rasmussen and Tonizza. Tonizza squeezing, Rasmussen maybe not really understanding how much he was just swaying out to the left-hand side, dipping a wheel onto the grass and just losing all that grip. But he went wide and managed to somehow do the undercut and got a decent run out of there. So he's still in P3, but this is always time lost. The medium runners of Opmeer and Tonizza, they're basically just holding up this train for as long as they possibly can. Then they go on the attack later on in the race.
Working right now for Opmeer and Tonizza, and Rasmussen will know he's got to start making moves. He will have the tyre advantage for now, but then it will swing back the other way. Marcel Kiefer has been a worthy teammate so far this year. Kiefer, who started this event in P3 in the standings, looking to try and keep tabs with the race leader. Opmeer, once again, always seems to be the way this year. The driver to beat, the one leading them at the moment, having taken the lead at the start. And it's poised. It's poised right now. We've all got DRS. We've got a DRS train, and we've got no one able to make progress, but not for the want of trying, as you see from Freddie Rasmussen.
Yeah, Freddie Rasmussen looking like the one that's going to be making the moves out of this train. And unfortunately for him, Tonizza has DRS on Opmeer, but Jano Opmeer, goodness me, has even pressed the DRS button for most of these races because he's always been leading. He always hasn't been the one to gain from the advantage of having that quicker straight line speed in the DRS activation points. He's got 7 tenths to Tonizza. He's slowly gapping the Ferrari driver.
Ferrari driver trying to bounce back after collision on lap number 1, a retirement in the race at Shanghai, and just a classic Tonizza first position in Hanoi with a thrilling battle that you saw earlier in the show. And Freddie Rasmussen right now, half a second behind. You can see Tonizza locking up at the famous hairpin a few moments ago, and it's a great start to this race for Jano Opmeer, the dominant driver this year, looking for his 3rd win of the season, but we have just seen him dominate a race and not stand on the top step.
That's absolutely true. It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds when the likes of Rasmussen and Kiefer pit on the soft tyres, which won't be a huge amount longer into this race before they do, and then they're going to just have to hope and pray that they don't get caught up by the longer runners continuing on those medium tyres that are slightly slower further back, because they may catch them. But Opmeer and Tonizza are doing a brilliant job to hold on at the front of this field on the mediums. They've yet to go on the faster Red Bull tyre. But right now, Opmeer, I think, has made a small mistake, because Tonizza's now within 4 tenths, now 5 tenths, as I said that.
Joni Tourmala in 10th position. And Joni Tourmala will be trying to improve from there, especially given the tyre he's on at this stage. Got the driver who was drafted first this year, Simon Weigang, in 9th position for Haas. And he lost a couple of positions at the start, started in 6th, down there in 9th, but on for points, which would be a step forward. A driver with a lot of talent, not finding it the easiest throughout this campaign. Into the pits comes Danny Beresney, and Nicolas Longuet. You can see that on the left-hand side of your screen. There's half a second for the race lead.
Okay, this is a big play from Alfa Romeo and Danny Beresnay. They're going for the undercut, the aggressive strategy here to see if Danny can pump in a really good outlap and see if he can get in the mix of those Red Bulls. He wasn't far behind, only a couple of seconds. He was in 5th position. And this is crucial now. He needs an excellent pit stop, an excellent outlap, and then he's going to be hoping he's right in the mix with these drivers.
Freddie Rasmussen with a lot of pace, with his teammate closing in as well. Here is his teammate at the bottom of your screen, Marcel Kiefer in 4th position. And he is, once again, we seem to see this happen time and time again. Good early pace from Rasmussen, and then Kiefer builds slowly to the back. Those on the soft rubber now beginning to get on with it.
Indeed. Let's see if the Red Bulls come in, or at least one of them comes in to cover off the strategy from Danny Beresnay. You'd imagine that at least one of them would pit. Let's have a look and see. There you go. As if by magic, Marcel Kiefer into the pits, as is Bianca Lila, who had a great qualifying in the mix. And, well, there was talk of him being swapped out, but he's doing a very good job in this Canadian Grand Prix.
He's put that to bed, at least for the time being. Into the pits comes Kiefer then, keen for that aggressive strategy. And Romanidis is in the pits as well, along with Haddad. And Danny Beresnay then in 12th position. Jano Opmeer pretty static out front, along with David Tonizza. That's a handy gap in F1 Esports. Brendan Lee 4th now, Simon Weigang back up to 5th with Joni Tormela in 6th.
Beresnay's jump, Kiefer.
Yes, yeah, Beresnay, Longuet and Kiefer, 12th, 13th and 14th at the moment of drivers that have come into the pits.
Yep, that's crucial for Danny Beresnay, so that's going to get him right in the mix with Freddie Rasmussen, who's yet to stop. He might have slightly fresher tyres, Rasmussen, but from what we can see currently in the first 7 laps of this race, track position is everything. Nobody can really make a move when you're stuck in a DRS train. It's Rasmussen and Tonizza, no Rasmussen into the pits. That's why we saw a change of position, because he probably flew in, as they like to do. And into the pits now. Let's see where he comes out. This is going to be very tight indeed between Kiefer, Longuet and Beresnay.
Will really be the difference between the in-laps and the out-laps, and you can see the Alfa Romeo is at full speed, and Danny Beresnay, he went aggressive, but we've got a different exit here of the pits. Oh, it's so close, and he's just got out ahead. Freddie Rasmussen just beat Danny Beresnay to the turn that you saw earlier, where Hamilton and Vettel were separated by absolutely nothing. Wasn't that much more between Rasmussen and Beresnay. That is so important for Freddie Rasmussen if he wants to make it 2 wins in a row.
Yeah, great move from Rasmussen, although he did cross the pit exit line. I'm not sure if the stewards will have anything to say about that.
Let's check in with, I believe, Freddie Rasmussen.
Then I come out and then I push and overtake him, and we switch like that.
All right. So lap 6.
We overtake him easy.
So they were talking about the strategy there.
Yeah, and it is still very close in the front. In fact, it is closer than it has been for a while now. David Tonizza with the DRS and can't use it. Very, very quick, these modern Formula 1 cars. The braking zone hardly exists at some corners compared to what we used to see in the past. And Jano Opmeer is able to maintain track position for the time being. More pit stops coming this time from Bono Huis, who is down to 19th position. And Danny Moreno now up to P3.
So when we're looking at this race, Beresnay has put himself very much in a nice position now, where he can fight for a podium at the very least. How will his medium tyres hold on with the fact that he went for that undercut? We'll have to see in these next 16 laps or so. It's looking very strong indeed. It'll lock up on the front right, but nothing too extreme. And he's now in the DRS. It's quite difficult to get a good run here. I feel like he's just saving energy. When you're looking at the intervals, he's not closing by a huge amount. So right now I feel like he's in fuel-saving mode, energy-saving mode. He's not trying to really attack Jano at this point, because it doesn't make any sense to, because they're on a completely different strategy. In essence, they want to work together in some ways, because they need to beat the runners that have already pit behind them.
You saw the graphic there on the right-hand side. The option for the strategy is now open. Lap 10 of 25. Longest lap count of the year, this event. slightly shorter racetracks, 4.3 kilometers, but 25 laps in which the drivers have to go to work. Formula One using this venue for a very long time, and the drivers having to put in so much effort. If you are new to F1 Esports, Matt, give us an idea of how much the drivers would be practicing for each and every round.
Oh, goodness me. I mean, it's a full-time job for these drivers. 10 to 12 hours, I heard that Marcel Kiefer was practicing. Because he wasn't feeling very well, he said, in qualifying, and probably doesn't feel too well now either. But yeah, these drivers put in a huge amount of time to perfect every part of this game, every nuance, every way the curb affects the car. They'll try all kinds of different lines, especially through this last chicane, to get as much momentum as they possibly can. But I mean, I don't know how they do it. It's something that you need a huge amount of motivation and dedication for, because it could wear away, you know, going lap after lap after lap. You know, when I used to league race back in the day, long time ago
here we
now.
go, it's my favourite bit of the
When I
commentary.
used to league race.
Back in the day.
But no, it's a difficult mental challenge when you're trying to master a racetrack, because you feel like you're on your optimum level, and then someone's a tenth or two down the road, and then you start to overdrive, and then you drive worse. So this is a huge mental challenge for the drivers, especially in the virtual world, because sometimes you just don't understand how someone's quicker, and it can be so frustrating.
And all of that is going on, and they wear that expression when they're in P2.
Unbelievable.
And they are debating the race lead out front. The picture of concentration from last year's champion. He's not had the best of fortune to start the year, but it's a long season. He's still got time to come back, and the driver he's trying to catch in the point standings directly ahead once again with DRS. When we were watching on board through that last chicane earlier on, we were taking a step back from the screen because they are risking everything through there in qualifying. As the fuel burns off, they'll be doing exactly the same thing. The gaps out there quite important right now, because the strategies in a few laps time going to meet in the middle. That on the left hand side right now is who has stopped, and the lead driver who has come in and made that stop, Freddie Rasmussen, our most recent race winner.
Crucially, Rasmussen is gapping the field that he came out with. Beresnay, Longuet and Kiefer still haven't got past Sally Saltunk, whereas Rasmussen already 1.1 seconds clear of the drive that is yet to stop. So Rasmussen really pumping in some lap times now in that Red Bull and trying to just get that gap, because you have to kind of assume and estimate that Opmeer and Tonizza, when they pit, will come up behind Rasmussen at the very least. And every single lap is so crucial for Freddie now to get the gap that he needs so that he can fight off Opmeer and Tonizza on the faster tyre.
What these two don't need is a battle corner after corner after corner. This is, we've already heard about working together earlier in the broadcast. This is where they're not part of the same team, but this is where they need to be sensible. Otherwise, they're just going to open the door for Freddie Rasmussen.
Indeed. I mean, look at the time intervals down the left-hand side. It's really going to be interesting to see where these two come out, because if Freddie has a little bit of a gap and a margin, whilst the likes of Tonizza and Opmeer are fighting Longuet, Kiefer, Biancalila, this could be time that plays into Rasmussen's hand. You might be thinking this is Opmeer's and Tonizza's to lose. It is, but it's all about where they come out when they pit.
And they'll get the soft rubber on slightly lower fuel as well. Did a lot of really strong work at the start of the race to set up this strategy. Helpful that they were both on the same tyre, but they've made it work. And David Tonizza, for such a long time in the last race, 25-lap race, Jano Opmeer in the lead for a long time, and yet you got the feeling throughout the contest in Zandvoort that Freddie Rasmussen was ready to strike at any moment, getting the similar vibe from the FDA driver right now.
Yeah, definitely. Tonizza played Vietnam beautifully when he overtook Longuet for the lead. Is he doing the same thing for Opmeer? Just sitting here, relax. Oh, he thought about it, but he goes into the pits. He's going for the undercut, and Opmeer now needs to now push hard before he pits the next lap.
This is going to be so important, because Tonizza is not only racing Opmeer, but also getting ever closer is Freddie Rasmussen, who has gone to work, and he is surely going to go past, and he does indeed.
There's a lot of work for these drivers to do. Tonizza's coming out in 10th, 11th position.
Now, he might gain some more on the exit of the corner.
Make that
Indeed,
ninth.
he does, and straight up to 9th. That's you lose a bit, and then you gain it back due to the exit here in Montreal. But lot of drivers to pick off. As you point out, Matt, David Tonizza has got Soltung, Biancolila, and then Kiefer Longuet Beresne, and then Freddie Rasmussen. If you're looking at the Red Bull like I was going down the pits, expecting it to be Freddie Rasmussen, it was Marcel Kiefer. So Red Bull have a second car in play that maybe they can deploy. This is going to be great, though, because we're going to see the drivers on the opposite strategy being picked off, you would assume, for David Tonizza. At least that is what last year's champion is hoping, and he's immediately getting to work.
Yeah, maximum attack for Tonizza, and you'd imagine Opmeer will come into the pits at the end of this lap. We should see the pit sign. If he doesn't, he's carried on for another lap, and it looks like he has carried on for another lap, Opmeer. So he does not fancy coming in just yet. He's going to extend it another lap, which means, well, pretty certainly he's going to come out behind Tonizza. So clearly Alfa Romeo believe that the soft tyres will not go as long and not work as well than what the FDA Hublot team have gone for.
And they've been the benchmark team so far this year. They've been the ones that have been on top of the strategy. They're the ones that have been leading the way. So interesting to see that they're confident to do that with Jano Opmeer. Right now, David Tonizza has nothing but pace underneath him, but he's not in a part of the racetrack where he can do much about it until right about now. This is a DRS zone. This is going to be an improvement of position for the Ferrari driver up to 6th.
Oh, game on. This is about to get very spicy.
There
indeed,
it is.
Mr. Jakes. This is going to come down to the wire. Tonizza's on full attack. Opmeer going on a completely different strategy in terms of going longer on the mediums, and then he will be on full attack. He could come out at around 10th, 9th, 10th position, Mr. Opmeer. So this is going to... I don't know who's going to win. I genuinely don't, and I love it.
That is because you're watching Formula 1 Esports in 2020.
He hasn't pit again, Opmeer.
He's gone round again, but it has been open and it has been varied. It has been super competitive and super high standard. And once again, we're getting another brilliant contest in the 5th race of the Pro Series season. This is going to be a bit of a train, though, for David Tonizza, who has gone on these soft tyres early, but he's got Kiefer of the same team that he is racing. Freddie Rasmussen, can he go around the outside? Kiefer, well, Red Bull would love it if they could deploy him for team reasons, but they won't be able to because David Tonizza, with the fresher rubber, in another lead.
You can see how much more grip David Tonizza has on those soft tyres. You'd have to imagine Opmeer's going to come into the pits at the end of this lap, but right now, maybe they just didn't think it was worth pitting just yet. They thought that Tonizza would get caught up in this train, which he has, granted, quite a bit, and he is around 4 seconds off Danny Beresne. No, sorry, 4 seconds off Freddie Rasmussen even. Danny Beresne just down the road there, as you can see. So Tonizza has to do some moves here to really start pushing over and pushing on to catching Freddie Rasmussen.
And
oh, the move here.
Yeah, Nicolas Longuet with the inside line, with the position. It's 3rd place for the Renault driver. Danny Beresne unsettled, overtaken by 1. I think you can chalk that up to overtaken by 2. Because, oh, he's toughing it out on the inside there. And now, will the extra grip play into the hands of the FDA driver? Oh, he's got momentum. Yellow flag is out, though, and that is going to cost time as they make their way round the Haas. And David Tonizza losing time between these two, battling amongst themselves. Yellow flags are out, and this is all costing him time that could be crucial at the end of the 25 laps.
And Opmeer still hasn't come into the pits. Does he know that he's got to change tyres? He's continuing on. He's only 9.7 seconds ahead of Rasmussen. This must be a masterstroke from Alfa Romeo. Jano Opmeer is going to be El Rapido in these next 8 laps or so as Tonizza looks to the inside.
He's going to get the move done this time, surely. So late on the brakes, Danny Beresne. Been saying that he's going to get the move done for a while now, and still he's ahead. Here's his teammate, race leader for 17 laps. He took P1 at the 2nd corner of the race, and here is David Tonizza, then still behind the Alfa Romeo, who has been able to play the team game for his rival. Freddie Rasmussen, meanwhile, into the lead of the race. And Nicolas Longuet now in second. Dani Beresnay is third, but for how much longer? Whatever he is doing, he's going to be very popular with his Alfa Romeo team. And did you see him coming out in the background? Jano Opmeer in 8th position. Make that 9th right now as around the outside and taking the position with a terrific pass. David Tonizza up to 3rd.
Beresnay made it as hard as he possibly could. Kiefer looking to the outside as well of Beresnay.
Is that going to work? Yes, it is. He's been off the racing line. He's been to the dirty part of the track. He is side by side with the Red Bull right now. But I tell you what, Dani Beresnay might have helped his team out as much as he can there, because he delayed the progress of David Tonizza for such a long time that Freddie Rasmussen has 3.9 seconds, not on Tonizza, but on Longuet.
Oh, what a move there. The AlphaTauri up the inside. A little bit of contact there on Beresnay there. Biancalila is getting through on Beresnay. They're side by side coming down this straight.
We're going to focus on the battle for second position. Different strategies here. David Tonizza absolutely leathering that car around this racetrack, giving it everything he can. Nicolas Longuet immediately trying to break the toe, but say goodbye to the Renault and say hello to second position David Tonizza. He's got 4 seconds to make up on Freddie Rasmussen if he's going to claim his second win of the year.
Opmeer's up to 6th already. He's playing a different game to everybody else. He's already made up, well, 2-3 positions since he came out the pits last time around. Jano has got huge amounts of grip in that Alfa Romeo. He's going to have to dispatch a Biancalila next.
He's going to have to go and buy his teammate a drink as well, because he really helped him. If Opmeer is able to close down the gap to Tonizza, he has his teammate to thank. They've sent him long, which means he can use these soft tyres like no one else has been able to. AlphaTauri directly ahead. We've gone from Zandvoort, where there's one overtaking opportunity. That does not apply to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Biancalila has done so well to return to form, but look at the difference between new softs and old mediums. Round the outside like he wasn't there, up to 5th position, Jano Opmeer.
Opmeer incredibly quick, but he has to make sure he doesn't nip his front wing on one of the cars, just lose an end plate, because that'll be his pace advantage gone out the window. Currently in 5th, 1 second to Kiefer. I'd imagine that would disintegrate within the next few corners, as it's already within 1 second. Not going to get, he does get the DRS in fact, so he's okay with that. He'll close in on Kiefer. Tonizza, crucially, not closing in maybe as fast as he'd like to Freddie Rasmussen, the leader.
Johnny Tormela up to 9th position, past Beresnay. Meanwhile, Beresnay's teammate Jano Opmeer in 5th at the moment. What strategy would you prefer at home? Would you look to be defending on that old alternate strategy, or would you want to be Jano Opmeer doing his best Jenson Button impression from 2011, trying to fly through the field? He knows that if he's going to make his way to the front, it's going to be towards the end of the race. That's exactly what we've seen all the way through this year. The car up the road is Marcel Kiefer. Get rid of that. The car behind him is Marcel Kiefer, because Jano Opmeer is going on the charge.
I absolutely love this. Crucially for Alfa Romeo, but Beresnay down to 10th. So we're looking at the constructors' fight. Red Bull still looking very strong, but Jano Opmeer is carrying the charge.
It is like he has the game on easy right now, but he hasn't. This is just the elite level for this game, and that is the difference between making your tyres last longer than anyone was able to. Then you get the payback. All those laps on the mediums, now he's just able to rag those soft tyres as much as possible. Next car up the road, David Tonizza, who was stuck behind his teammate for such a long while. He is inside DRS. Tonizza taking time out of Rasmussen. Opmeer taking time out of Tonizza.
Oh, this is going to come down to the wire. Opmeer doing his best Kimi Räikkönen at Portimao impression, where he's just trying to go as quickly as he possibly can, and he is flying at the moment. He's catching Tonizza hand over fist. Opmeer is not out of this.
Look at that graphic. Look at that graphic. Last lap, 1.2 seconds the difference. Tonizza's been rapid, but Opmeer is on another plane right now, and I'm not sure Tonizza's going to be able to do much about him when he gets close. Then the question's going to be, can Opmeer charge down the Red Bull in the lead, who went a different way? Great to see the variation in strategy, but we thought, tell you what, Alfa Romeo, they're usually confident, they usually know what they're doing, they've been the team to beat so far this year, and they're showing that they really do know the strategy for F1 2020.
Rasmussen's had an epic stint, it has to be said, on those mediums, gapping his rivals beautifully on the same strategy. I think Opmeer is looking like the person in the pound seats at the moment. If he can get past Tonizza, he's practically pushing him round the first couple of corners. He's got 3 seconds to make up to Rasmussen, 3 laps to go.
Oh, come on, David. David bounces off the wall. Oh no, they come together. The two rivals.
He's upside down.
As a massive crash for David Tonizza, who had done brilliantly to make his way up the order, but he's come together with Jano Opmeer to give Freddie Rasmussen a breathing opportunity out front. But Opmeer trying to make use of that extraordinary pace that he had, coming together, and right now it has ruined the race for David Tonizza, who is down to 6th position.
Tonizza was flipping in the background, so you can see he's got front wing damage there as well. He is an ailing Ferrari, and I wonder if Jano Opmeer's got damage as well, that he's closing in on Rasmussen. This will be something that's investigated after the race. The classification may not be the ones that stick afterwards.
Well, right now, Opmeer has just got to put that out of his mind, and he's got to try and close down the Red Bull ahead. He's certainly got enough laps left, given the advantage. Has he got any damage from that dramatic moment? Tried to go around the outside, and there just wasn't the width on the racetrack. The Dutch driver is 1.7
retired.
seconds.
Tonizza's out.
Tonizza, once again, for the 3rd time this year, will not score points. He will, unfortunately, retire on lap 23, and the reigning champion coming together with this year's points leader. That feels like it's pivotal. It's a long season, but will he really be able to make back those points? Heartbreak for Tonizza, still a big opportunity for Opmeer, but he will be investigated, you can bet, after the race.
What a shame for Tonizza. He showed the pace. We had a great battle on our hands. It just seemed like Opmeer tried to turn in a little bit too early, but I'm sure they'll review both of the drivers' point of views to see if anything had gone on that they don't agree with, that they believe deserves a penalty. We will find out, hopefully at some point after the race. But here we are, just over a second is Opmeer behind Rasmussen. He won't get DRS advantage this time. How hard is Rasmussen going to fight? Right now, Red Bull still in an advantageous position. Marcel Kiefer all over the back of Longuet. This could be a 2-3 for Red Bull. Do they fight? Rasmussen will know what just happened to Tonizza. Do they risk it?
That is the question. Guess where we are? Once again, penultimate lap of the race, where race number 4 was decided. Now race number 5 of the season being contested. Rasmussen versus Opmeer. And you can see 0.8 of a second. So the tyre life going away from the Red Bull soft tyres, but it should be enough to give him that opportunity. But Rasmussen has got himself into this championship hunt. He'll want to take 7 more points out of Jano Opmeer, but Opmeer has got the right tyre on the car. We are going to be heading to the 25th and final lap, with the race lead being debated once again. What has Rasmussen got in terms of defensive driving? Whatever he's got, he needs to use it right about now, because Jano Opmeer, surely under investigation, can't do anything about that, but he can take the lead on the penultimate lap, beaten by Rasmussen at Zandvoort. He goes ahead of his rival as he starts the final lap in 1st position.
Easy peasy for Opmeer. Marcel Kiefer up to P3. He's overtaken Nicolas Longuet on this lap. That's crucial for the Red Bull team to close in that gap again to the Alfa Romeo team.
Well, Alfa Romeo would have given him the strategy. One thing to be told that it's theoretically fast, another thing entirely to deliver, and he did so. But you saw the tyre marks down at turn number 5. There is a question mark hanging over that vintage Michael Schumacher crash helmet that Jano Opmeer chooses to use in this game. He has been the benchmark this season, but will he keep what has surely got to be his most stylish win of the year so far, apart from that incident with the Ferrari? It has been mesmeric stuff once again from Jano Opmeer, but what will race control say? Freddie Rasmussen did all he could. It will be a good day for Red Bull. 2nd and 3rd. Longuet back up and running, and a strong 5th place for Danny Moreno is coming his way at the end of the race. Moreno trying to improve up to 4th, but Jano Opmeer took on the difficult strategy, made it work, and seized the checkered flag first. Jano Opmeer wins again in the Pro Series and extends his championship lead for now. But will he keep it?
That's a question that I cannot answer right now, but it was an absolutely exceptional drive from Jano Opmeer on that alternative strategy. But That incident with Tonizza is a little bit up in the air. I'm not sure if he turned it a little earlier. On that spectator cam, it looked as though it was a little bit sketchy. There's Danny Moreno. What a drive from him. And in fact, he is my driver of the day, Danny Moreno. What a brilliant, brilliant performance. And, well, it says Freddie Rasmussen on the screen, but I gave it to Danny Moreno.
You've changed your mind. He's pumped up right now because that's his personal best in the F1 Esports Series, and you can see what it means when all of those hours...
There you go, it's correct now.
Yeah, when all of those hours pay off. Now he's driver of the day.
Yeah, what a brilliant,
Anyone else you want to give it to?
No.
Okay,
Danny Moreno, 5th position, new to this series. You can see how much it means to him. That's what we love to see, isn't it, Alex?
Without doubt. No doubting who the presenter of the day is. It's the man downstairs. It's Mr. Tom Deacon.
Oh, you are too kind. Oh, that really did tickle us down on the desk. Thank you so much to Alex Jakes and Matt Gallagher, giving it the Aramco driver of the day to pretty much anyone, really. But it's gone to Danny Moreno. Brilliant race from him. Before we talk about him, let's talk about Jano Opmeer. He wins in Bahrain, he wins in China, and now, provisionally, he has won in Canada. Exceptional race from him, and what a pit strategy.
Yeah, yet again, going long on his middle or his first stint, and then using the soft tyre to his advantage. Yeah, incredible. I thought it was too late, really. I didn't know he was going to have that much of a benefit with these tyres. You can see what a shame. Touching Tonizza, I don't think he saw him. I think it was a game glitch, and you can see here.
Ooh. Yeah, well, they are investigating it as we speak. So provisionally, it's happened. Nothing, I mean, you can see the reaction there from David Tonizza.
Wow.
But what a race from David Tonizza. At that point, he felt like he had a good strategy, battling his way up to try and take on Freddie Rasmussen, who was very calm and collected throughout that race. We know he's just won so far in Zandvoort tonight, but Freddie Rasmussen was doing a great job as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was making that medium tyre go really, really long, wasn't he? And I was sort of thinking he might have just done enough. But yeah, Opmeer had all of that pace and was able to then use it to the point where Rasmussen couldn't really do anything in terms of defence. But I think Freddie did a good job in using his tyres in the right way to get him a good result.
Well, listen, Nick, I want to chat to your provisional winner of the race in Canada just then. Jano Opmeer, I believe you are on the line. How are you feeling after a day like that?
Yeah, I'm feeling very, very good, of course. Picking up the 5th podium and my 3rd win. So yeah, it was very tricky. The game said it was going to rain at the end of the race, hence why I started on mediums. But yeah, halfway through the race, I still couldn't hear anything from Jeff weather-wise, so I decided to just stretch it until the ideal lap to pit for softs and push from there, basically.
Yeah, typical of Jeff not to help you out with the weather there, Jano. Typical Jeff. Danny Beresny did a great job of holding off for Tonizza as long as he could. Was that something you were discussing throughout the race?
Yeah, I couldn't see Tonizza on my screen, so that was a bit difficult. I had the same with Brandon in qualifying, where he blocked me, but he couldn't do anything about it simply because he couldn't see me on track. So yeah, it was a bit of a difficult game bug to work around. But yeah, in the end, yeah, I'm sorry for David. I heard obviously from the guys who were watching the broadcast in my team that he crashed because of me. But yeah, he wasn't for me on track, so I couldn't do anything about it. But yeah, obviously my teammate got the undercut, but then struggled on tires towards the end. So yeah, he gained a few places and then lost them again. So it's a shame, but he definitely did a great job.
Yeah, well, listen, Jano, congratulations on... it was just breathtaking to watch. I know everyone at home will have enjoyed that as well. Jano, let the adrenaline settle now. Enjoy yourself, and we wait for those results. So congratulations to you, Jano. Nick, a brilliant race. We will wait for those results to come through. But anyone else who sort of stood out for you in that race today? I
would say Danny Moreno. You know, it's great for him to get his his personal best result there in P5. Biancolila's done really well as well in P6 and Romanidis in P7. So I think there's a really good performances from a lot of people there.
Yeah, well, listen, DHL fastest lap goes to the two-time champion, Brendan Lee. I am looking forward to Austria tomorrow, where maybe he can turn that fastest lap for DHL into a win. Nick, it was brilliant to have you on the desk. I think you did a fantastic job filling here for Natalie Pinkham. That is it from us this evening. Just time to tell you that qualifying for the 2021 Pro Series is now open. So head over to f1esports.com to find out how you can get involved. And never know, you could be here next season. And we have more coming your way from racing in Austria tomorrow. And as you can see, we have got live qualifying with Nick joining Matt Gallagher on the sofa, where they will also look back at the best action from this evening. They'll be live at 3:30 p.m. Right then, we are bringing us to a close the show. Nick, thank you very much. To Matt, to Alex Jace, we will see you back here for more racing. We're back here in the brilliant Gfinity Arena in London.
Battle for the lead, and it's going to be resolved in favour of Freddie Rasmussen. Lights go on, lights out in Montreal.